Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a great time. This is normally a little later than I like to get on, but I got a lot going on, a whole lot to catch up on. But I definitely wanted to take some time to talk to you about an upcoming online symposium I am doing on healed and whole. Healed and whole is a true concept of how powerful our minds are in the process of our healing. And I don't just mean physically, but I do mean physically. I mean physically, emotionally, mentally, and even to the point where it starts to impact what we're able to do in the world, in our careers, in our relationships, in our finances, in our impact in the world. It all begins with having the right state of mind, the right frame of mind, the right frequency, the right vibration, the right focus, and it all starts there. It started with me well over 30 years ago in researching multi-generational trauma and to be able to understand what that really meant and how it took place. And initially it started with social learning theory, thinking, okay, we just simply pass down habits that are associated with it, and we tend to, because we are traumatized, hurt other people and traumatize people. That's a part of it, but a bigger part was that there's a genetic predisposition to trauma. There's also a genetic projection of trauma, and the science that studies that is epigenetics. And so I got real deep off into epigenetics, the study of how your environment impacts your gene expression. And you have genes that are a part of your autoimmune system, genes that are part of your health and tends to fight off illnesses, sicknesses. And it also, your genes decode your DNA. So your genes decode your DNA. And what does that mean? That means that your DNA is your eye color, your height, your hair, uh, how to fight off diseases, everything that you need to survive, and tell you who you are, what you'll be, what you're capable of becoming. From a physiological, emotional, it gives your temperament, uh, how you move and how you operate. All this is going to be in your DNA, and your genes interpret your DNA. And when they interpret, basically what they do is they transcribe your DNA, basically break it down and put it into searchable data. And from searchable data, they interpret that data and determine what they do. Every cell, it has genes that determine what that cell does. And so when you have a situation where, for instance, what I found out that really blew my mind, that got me on this journey, from that moved me, not simply about what happens with gene expression as far as trauma is concerned, because the body actually keeps the score. It's not simply a mind thing. Literally, trauma is coded into every cell in the body. But what moved me on to even further things is I discovered that there was a direct relationship and correlation between environmental stress and cancer. And I wrote on it so intensively for a period that I was actually invited to the International Epigenetics Council on Cancer in Frankfurt, Germany. I want to say 2017. And that opened up the door. But the beautiful thing that I discovered about this whole epigenetics and how it takes care of trauma, then it took me into adverse childhood experiences. Adverse childhood experiences is in the science of epigenetics, but how trauma influences a developing mind, how trauma experiences a developing child, how trauma experiences all these things. So I had regular trauma, adult trauma, childhood trauma, adverse childhood experiences that range everything from having a parent who's incarcerated, being abused as a child, sexually abused, physical abuse, neglected as a child, emotional neglect, physical neglect, witnessing abuse, having an absent parent, having a parent that's struggling with mental health or mental illness, having a parent that's struggling with addiction. All of these are adverse childhood experiences. Each one of those I mentioned is a point. We learned that in this, that a child with 4 ACEs is 12 times more likely to attempt suicide, 4 times more likely to develop ischemic heart disease. And this is far down the line. This doesn't just mean if it continues. It doesn't just mean if it was intense over a long period of time. It's that if they at any time record a score of at least 4 ACEs in their life, they're more likely to have ischemic heart disease, 3.5 times more likely to develop some form of cancer, 4 times more likely to have what we would call high risk behavior, sexually, alcoholism, drug addiction, and a bunch of other things. So their long-term health outcomes are directly associated with the environmental stress they face as children. We discovered all this. So all of this stuff is overwhelming. You start to say, man, look at all the stuff we're working against. Then the beauty of it came to a question. Well, what's the opposing reality to it? And so when I start to look is that everything that you see happening is reversible by reversing the environment. If you take people out of stressful environments and put them in positive environments, they literally get to a point where they're more conducive to healing. You put them in a positive environment, things get better for them. I mean, from skin complexion to eyesight, to arterial health, heart health, or all the other organs, simply by changing stress. Here's one of the things you learn in my field of work in dealing with stress response. Stress response is a part of what happens when you get traumatized. Stress response is often referred to as fight or flight, and now they've added freeze, fight or flight or freeze as a part of it. And all it means is that the most reptilian part of the brain, the limbic system, senses a threat and it speeds up the heart rate. It shuts down the prefrontal cortex. And what it does is it sends the extra blood and oxygen from that would normally flow to the prefrontal cortex, which is normally about 30% of your blood flow at any given time if you're awake, and sends it to your extremities. Why? So that you can either run or fight. And so what happens is now in modern times, there aren't tigers out every time you go out to get food. There aren't bears out every time you go out to get food. There isn't an immediate threat unless you grow up where? In the hood of going outside. So what happens? The threat is now what the boss is going to think about your assignment. The threat is now is what type of stress are you going to walk into when you walk into the home? I always talk about the bear in the woods. The bear in the woods is the perfect example of what fight or flight is about. You see a bear in the woods and your prefrontal cortex shuts down, your heart rate goes up, the body releases adrenaline and cortisol into the bloodstream that gives you a heightened sense of physicality and ability to respond, and you more than likely try to run and get away. Now, the average human cannot outrun a bear, but the amazing thing that you can do when you have a high level of adrenaline and cortisol in your body over short periods of time is to do some pretty unbelievable things. Maybe climb a tree like you've never climbed it before, but whatever, it's there. And so that's what it's for. It's there 2 or 3 minutes tops. You do what you got to do to make yourself safe. You get away and it's over with. Well, here's the thing. When you're dealing with it with modern day stressors, there's no bear, but the bear is what? The bear is the boss. The bear is the bills that are due. The bear is all these different things that are stressing you. And so then what happens? Now, instead of getting away from the bear, you take the bear home with you. Now, instead of leaving the bear at home because it's a domestic issue, you take it because you're strained about it, stressed about it, overwhelmed about it. You take it to the office with you. You take it to the field with you. You take it wherever you work. You take it. And so now you're carrying the stress, and we hear it all the time, chronic stress. But it sounds like such a non-pervasive thing. It's chronic stress. You're a little stressed out. You stay stressed a little longer than normal. No big deal. No, chronic stress is saying that for prolonged period of times, cortisol and adrenaline are in your bloodstream. Cortisol in bursts of 2 or 3 minutes are great for activity like working out in the gym, running a kickoff back for a touchdown, all that stuff. It's great. It's when your nervous system kicks in. As a sprinter, it was great for me when I'm in the blocks. There's a nervousness that kicks in. Anybody's been a sprinter know when I'm in the blocks, it's great. Why? Because I'm getting that cortisol and adrenaline I need so that when I hear that gun, I'm going out and I'm getting as much explosiveness and reactiveness to that sound as I possibly can. All that's great. But when it's in your bloodstream for a prolonged period of time, that's why anyone who really understands training and fitness will tell you, don't go super hard in the gym more than 45 minutes straight. You need, if you're going to be in the gym for a long period of time, there's got to be a break to let that cortisol and that adrenaline dissipate, and then you can deal with healthy. But if you're dealing with it on prolonged period of times, it's attacking your organs, it's attacking your arterial health, your heart is catching hell. It's impacting your brain, your ability to function, and so many other things that are going to have long-term effects. And so that's why chronic stress is lethal. But what I found is when you move people into a space where there is less environmental stress, then the healing starts. We've studied identical twins who are literally the same person who split during development of the ovum. And here they are, same DNA, same thing, everything's the same, except now as they grow older and they move out of a universal shared environment and go into different directions in life, depending on what their life is like, you can see the outcomes of their health play out. And it's unbelievable what happens. And so we learned that changing the environment changes this. And so when I wrote Healed and Whole, I delved into a whole new level of healing. Yes, you need to be very careful about what you eat. That's in the book. You need to be very careful about being active. That's extremely important. But the biggest part of what's killing us isn't how sedentary we are, even though we are a very sedentary culture. That's not what's killing us. Even though we're not eating great, especially if you're eating processed foods, especially if you're eating foods that are processed, that are highly addictive, those aren't helping at all. But the biggest killer is stress. The biggest killer is stress. The biggest trigger of all the other things that make us sick is stress. So then how do you get rid of it? And people saying it's easy for somebody that's got this or got that. No. And so what happens when I live in a stressful environment? It just simply is. What happens when I'm a firefighter, when I'm a police officer, or when I'm in a very stressful marriage, or when I'm going through a phase where there's a lot of financial difficulties and I don't know what I'm going to do. What I can't get out of that stress. Yes, you can. Your mind is powerful. In the undeniable wisdom of God, God designed the brain and the mind to lack the ability to distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. That's why the imagination is so powerful. And that's why I always labor with parents on being sure that they don't destroy the imagination of the children, because in this culture, especially, we have the tendency to want to, as the kid moves closer to school, get them ready for the real world. So, hey, get your head out the clouds. Stop daydreaming. That's probably not going to work for you. You need to focus more on this. And we start to push our limiting beliefs on our children. We start to reel them in. They stop using their imagination and they start taking on these constricted ideas of how life is going to perform in their life. And the more constricted they become, the less powerful they feel to be able to take on the things that they're going to face. The flip side of that is the imagination will take you into explorations of the answers of the things that you don't understand. That's where you get the answers. It was the imagination that came up with the technology that's allowing you to watch this video. It's the imagination that came up with the periodic table. It's the imagination that came up with the automobile, the airplane. All these things started with someone stepping outside of the constricts of what was there to create a solution to a problem. The answer to every problem that you have is within your grasp, but you can't get it if you are restricting your imagination and so limiting your thoughts, because your thoughts are what? The seeds of your destiny. How is that so? Because every thought plants an idea. The idea determines how you view life. How you view life determines your beliefs. Your beliefs determine your behavior and your actions. You're never going to incessantly and persistently pursue something you don't believe you can have. So what happens? Limiting belief says I can't have it, even if I'm forced to do it. Somebody's asked me, well, have you tried that yet? So I got to go at least try it. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to try it. And then you go over there, but you're only trying because you need to be able to say you did. So you're going over there the whole time you're believing that it's not going to happen. So what happens when you try? Well, when you try, you go out there and you put the amount of effort you believe into your work. If I don't believe it's going to happen, I'm just doing it because I've got to go through the motions. And what happens when you do it? You're going to get what? A result. The result is going to be in direct correspondence to the amount of energy, effort, and commitment you put into it. So you're going to get little to no results. That's going to reaffirm what? The initial belief, and what? Reassure that you're going to put even less effort into it if you have to try it again. And you're going to what? Ultimately get zero results, get zero positive outcomes, and you're going to ultimately sit up there and accept it, whether it's your finances, whether it's relationships, whether it's parenting, whether it's starting a new career, whether it's starting a new business. You're only going to get what you expect, because you're going to perform at the level of your expectation. God meets you at the level of your expectations. Another way to put it is God meets you at the level of your faith. So then what must you do? You must convince yourself that it's possible. Not necessarily initially that it's possible for you. It's just got to be possible. If it's possible, that means somebody can do it. If somebody can do it, I can figure out how they did it and I can do it too. And that's the beginning of it, believing that it's possible. Once you believe that it's possible, you explore the ideas of how it may be possible. You ask yourself, I'm going to step outside. I'm going to step outside of this box. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to explore what's possible. And then when you get outside of the box, you realize that there's more than one way to do something. And then you get this. Uh, William Hutchinson Murray once said that providence doesn't even initiate until you take the first step, meaning that you got to show God that you believe. You got to show the universe that you believe. You got to show life that you believe. And then life, the universe, God starts to move and open up doors that you didn't know that. I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting around, I'm talking about something I'm going to do, but I'm looking for the answer and I can't find it. I don't know where I'm supposed to start. So I'm putting it off, trying to wait and trying to figure it out. And then one day I just sit up and say, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to call this person. I'm going to look up this. I'm going to go fill out this particular form. I'm going to file this or whatever it is to get something started, a new business, a new idea, a writing of a new book, whatever. And I guarantee you within hour, in many instances, especially when I used to have a satellite office at Starbucks, somebody walks up to me that I've seen a million times walk by a table while I'm working and go, hey, I always see you over here. You're always doing this. You got all this stuff spread out. What do you do? And we start this conversation. And so what you got going on now? This is what I'm about to do. Man, you won't believe this, but I know this guy. Now, I've been sitting there the whole time. Guy's been walking it by, never stops, never speaks to me. And this happened more than once. But the moment that I sit up and say, I'm about to do something, I'm about to change, I'm about to take action, I'm about to take step, I'm going to take a step of faith, I'm going to step into the darkness, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. Guess what? Here comes God saying, hey, let's do this. Providence moves after you move. That means everything you need to do it is waiting on you to take action, but you've got to be willing to do it. All of this is coming from the mind, the thing that I believe. And so how do we create an environment when you are in a physically stressful environment in things you don't control? You don't control necessarily where you live at the time. You got to get what you need to get out of that situation. But for right now, you're there. You don't control where you're at the job. Right now, you need that job. Job's stressful as hell. You got to work on getting away from it. But how do you create stress? You change the way you perceive things. You change the framing of the thing. If I look at it and say, I'm stuck in this job, I'm never going to be able to get out of this job, that alone is stressful. Do you know when the largest percentage of people have their first heart attack? 85% of people have their first heart attack on Monday morning between 6 a.m. and noon. Guess what that is? The first day back at work. Why is that important? Because there's another study that says, and it's crazy now, 85% of the people in America go to work to jobs they hate. That's literally committing spiritual suicide in incremental progressions. Every day you're giving up a piece of yourself, shortening your lifespan because you are living in a constant state of stress, because you've bought into the idea that that place is the only place that you can sit up and make a living to take care of the responsibilities that you have. This doesn't mean go out and quit your job. What it means is start to see it as a path to something instead of a stop. Just changing that one thing relieves stress. Sit up and say, you know what? I'm not stuck here. I'm on my way through here. And I've done that many times, not just with jobs or anything like that. I do that anytime I'm going through something. Anytime things are bad, I look at it and I say, look, I'm built for this. That one thing shifts everything. What does that mean to me? Me saying I'm built for this means that no matter what I'm facing, no matter what I'm going through, no matter how it looks, I'm about to break through. I'm going to get through it. And when I come through it, I'm going to be better than I was before I started, because that's what challenges do. Challenges make you better. That's another mindset that's going to get you. When I meet a challenge, the challenge isn't there to destroy me. It's there to groom me. It's there to strengthen me. It's there to make me better. Look, what I want you to do is I want you to become that person that's able to do that. And so not everybody reads. Unfortunately, the science tells me that the most successful people in this world, no matter what, the top 5 most successful people in this world do what? They read a minimum of 4 books a month. The average American reads 1 book a year. And so what does that mean? That's a bunch of people not reading anything. Then so what happens? That means a lot of people will never pick up this book that I've written. But what I did is I created this symposium, where I'm going to walk you through step by step how to literally create a mindset that's focused, how to use journaling, how to use affirmations, how to use reprogramming mechanisms to program your mind to think positively. Over the course of the day, you literally engage on a subconscious level anywhere from 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Most times it's the same thought over and over again, but it's happening. And the thing is, the things that come to the surface are coming from the subconscious. You ever sit up and all of a sudden your mood changed and you can't figure out why? A thought came to the surface that changed it, whether it was for the better or for the worse. There was some subconscious things that were triggered by an experience that you may not have been aware for. It may have been a trigger with a smell, a trigger with a sound, a trigger with a song. But it triggered something, and it was initially down here, but it started coming to the, and once, what you got to understand is your brain categorizes your memories. That's how you find memories when you're searching for them. They're categorized. And that's how you can be thinking about one thing and go back and be way over here. And my brain does it at an unbelievable rate. It really flips people out how I can start over here and go over here. And it's connected because the brain literally categorizes. So what happens is you start a subconscious thought process, and it's about something that gets triggered by a smell or whatever. And then the next thing you know, that thought touches another thought that's categorically connected. And then the next thought that's categorically, and before you know it, it's risen to the surface. And maybe it's a bad memory. Now you're irritated, but you don't even know why, because you haven't been aware of the process that's taking place all the time. The beautiful thing is you can program yourself to where you are able to stack the emotions and the ideas and the memories that are going to be coming from the surface. In other words, you spend so much time focusing on the positive, so much time focusing on elevation, so much time focusing on growth, so much time focusing on being the best version of yourself, that the thoughts that are rolling on the surface and the second layer of your subconscious are all positive. So when something comes to the surface unbeknownst to you, 9 times out of 10, it even puts you in a better mood, or it gives you more confidence, or it helps you respond to something that you're going through. This isn't some elixir that says, hey, look, you learn how to do this, nothing else never goes wrong. I'm going to tell you, when you're chasing something, when you're looking to be the best version of yourself, and it's a work in progress, I'll tell you that right now. That's why I often say I do not preach, teach, lecture, or present from a platform of perfection, because I'm still growing. That's my job every day. I get up and I go, no 0 days, no excuses. What does it mean? I have to grow today. Some days it's just reading a chapter in a book. Some days it's reading an entire book. Some days it's talking to someone I know. Some days it's attending a webinar, seminar, conference, or studying the teachings of someone that I believe can give some enlightenment to where I'm at. But it can never be the same man going to bed that woke up that morning. And if I do that every day, and I was telling one of my clients today, if I make incremental progressions like this every day, nothing big, nothing noticeable in and of itself, nothing nobody's going ooh, ah about. But if I make these minor increments every day, now that's 365 of these in a year. So a year from now, I've made this big of a jump. Now that's noticeable, and it's advanced me towards what it is I believe and say I want to do. So now I have confidence. Now I have an ability to sit up and say, you know what, I'm about to do something different. But it all begins with the mind. So this whole thing is you merge epigenetics, and then there's the part of quantum psychology, an area that I spend a lot of time mastering. Quantum psychology is the introduction of frequency and vibration into the process of creation, and that also includes healing. In other words, what you're thinking about, your thoughts have frequency. You can measure it with a Hertz scale. It's not, when somebody says your frequency and your vibration, they're not talking spiritual gibberish. What they're saying is you're emitting an energy, whether it's low vibrational, low frequency, or high vibrational. And there are different things. Here's the thing that I learned in frequency. It's not just about what you're able to do. So in essence, what you find is all of your negative emotions, bitterness, jealousy, anger, strife, jealousy, and go on down the line, fear, all of that is 250 hertz and lower. Some as low as 50 hertz. That's where you're at. And if you find, what you're going to find out is you're not going to feel good when you're there. You might feel a temporary satisfaction from being angry, because anger is your way of saying I have power when you really don't, because if you had power, you wouldn't be angry. You would be solving the problem. You will be dealing with it no matter what it was. Anger is not a sign of power, but that's what we use. I told them off. I did this. I got that straight. And you shorten your life in the process because you didn't manage and take control of what you have control over. People who have power don't get angry. They take care of the problem. So it's just like a kid. A 3-year-old is going to what? Throw a tantrum. Why? Because they don't have a power to change or do what they really want. The parent has the power. So they throw a tantrum. The older they get, they start to look for solutions to circumvent the parent's power. Why? They're developing understanding. I'm learning how to do some things. I can do some things on my own. And the older you get, the more you should be able to realize that. So again, what you do is you realize that, hey, I've got this. But then what happens? You start to get up to 460 hertz. Now, all of a sudden, you're in the space of the 460 hertz where the body actually starts to heal itself. There's a frequency that literally initiates healing. There's a frequency that your cells, every cell in your body responds to positively. And it starts at 460. If you go back and you look at, I don't know how many paid attention to this, when Andre 3000 dropped his last album and it was a flute and everybody lost their freaking mind because they wanted a hip hop album. And here comes this dude with a flute. Nobody realized that the vast majority of that was all 460 hertz or higher. It's unbelievable to listen to, not because of its great notes and all of that. The frequency brings your body to peace, and you got to learn how to create that frequency. The beautiful thing is you can create that frequency by simply saying, I'm grateful. When I wake up in the morning, no matter what's going on in my life, it's always something going on, it seems, at certain points and stages, right? You get up going, man, what in the world? So what I do is I don't wake up looking at what's going wrong. I wake up and the first thing out of my mouth before I move is thank you. Thank you. And then before I move any further, it's I'm grateful. I am immensely grateful for this moment. And in this moment, why is this moment? This moment has infinite possibilities. This moment is where something great is created. This moment is where the solution presents itself. This moment is where elevation happens. This moment is where something different comes about. This moment is full of possibilities. So I'm grateful for this moment. I'm not even considering what's wrong right now. I'm not considering the things that aren't right. I'm considering this moment. And for that, I'm grateful. The moment that I say I'm grateful, science tells me that my frequency goes to 500 hertz. And then after that, I'm still in bed. After that, I say, I am whole, I am worthy, I am loved, and I love. Love, 600 hertz. So now I've put myself at an even higher frequency. Now I'm starting to be able to receive things because I'm almost at the point of revelation. Revelation is where you're able to discover the things that are out there, the things that the ideas come from. This is scientifically studied. This isn't me just gibbering. This is scientific. When I'm able to get past all the negative emotions, I'm able to put that behind me. I'm able to sit up and say, you know what? I'm about to walk in a space of expectation, a space of appreciation, a space of gratitude. And gratitude is the escape for me. When I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling upset, I'm saying, you know what, I'm grateful. What happens at that moment is it snatches me away from the need to want to get angry, the need to want to worry, the need to want to become stressed, the need to sit up and be figuring out what's going on. And I move into a place of peace and satisfaction, because what I've learned is if I'm in a state of gratitude, I cannot be angry. If I'm in a state of gratitude, I cannot be jealous. If I'm in a state of gratitude, I can't be envious. If I'm in a state of gratitude, I don't have anxiety or worry or fear, none of those things, because I know something good is there for me. And I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for what I've done and where I've been and what I'm going to do. And all these things that I know that are really, truly powerful in my life, and whatever that is. And I don't care if you're breathing, you're still in the fight. That's a reason to be grateful. And once you say grateful, it snatches you away from those things that'll tug at you and distract you and make you start thinking, what are you sitting up trying to be positive about? You know those bills are due. What are you trying to be positive about? You just went through a divorce. You know those, what are you trying to be positive about? You lost your job. What are you trying to be positive about? Blah, blah, blah. But when you sit up and say, I'm grateful, it snatches you out of that. And then gratitude is the gateway to abundance, the abundance of peace, the abundance of love, the abundance of finance. All of these things come from gratitude. And then what happens? You move up to love. That's when you're not just talking about somebody loving you. You're talking about experiencing love, experiencing the love of God, experiencing the love of how you love yourself, experiencing the love that you're giving your kids and they're returning to you, experiencing love if you have a significant other, and how you make sacrifices and work towards one another and try to build something together, and on and on. But what happens is you start the process of discovery, and it's revelation. Sometimes revelation is triggered by reading a book that you've never read before that opens up a new idea. Some of you have experienced revelation now, and you didn't even realize what that feeling was that was rushing through you when you heard me say something you've never heard before. You go, wow, I didn't know that. And then you're going, whoa. And I'm just going off of some of the comments that I've read on different platforms. I'm on multiple platforms now. But hey, so what happens? Revelation. Now you're in the discovery of the place that takes you to where you want to go. What do you want? What does it look like? Write it down. It's your thought process. This is what I want to show you in this symposium. We've got two levels. We've got general admission. General admission, you're going to get the 90 minutes, pure power and direction in creating an environment conducive to holistic healing, long-term success. We're going to talk about epigenetics. We're going to talk about quantum psychology. We're going to talk about the power of healing through environments that we create from a mental perspective first. Once we create it with a mental perspective, we can create it from externally, and we can then begin to impact the healing and the well-being of others around us. That's how powerful the field that we emit in our energy is. You ever been in a space where you're sitting up there and somebody walks in the room and the whole energy just sucks out of it? Low frequency. And that low frequency field is so powerful that it's impacting you. Have you ever been in a place and you're not kind of feeling yourself, you're down, and a person walks in, doesn't say anything, but immediately you feel upbeat, you feel like, hey man, maybe it's going to be a better day than I thought. Person is on an extremely high frequency and their field is large and it's impacting you. This is the power of the things we walk in every day. God didn't leave anything untouched. We just haven't explored it the way we should. And so you're going to learn how to use your mind to change different aspects of your life, including finances, relationships, career, business goals, and everything. This isn't a quick elixir. This isn't a quick fix. This isn't a one size fits all. This is about learning how to trust your mind to explore the possibilities and create the environment that's going to help you live a healthy, longer, more quality life. You're going to get the recorded version so that you can go back and revisit it. The first 20 people that enter are going to receive one $550 rapid transformation session from me. That's what I charge for one session, the rapid transformation. The first 20 people who sign up are going to get it from me free. Now there's a VIP section. You can look at the links and click in there. It tells you the price. The general admission is $150. The VIP is $375. With the VIP, you're going to get everything you get in general admission, but you're also going to get 3 follow-up rapid transformation sessions. So that's $1,600. What? Yeah, $1,650. I think I'm doing the math, something like that. $1,650. Free. You're going to get a backstage encounter, meaning that you get to stay and hang out with me after it's over, and we're going to talk more on a more intimate one-on-one level with the people who are a part of this. You get triple entry. Now this is big. Everybody that comes on, once we hit 50 entries, I'm going to activate a raffle. The raffle is going to be for a platinum package. A platinum package with me is 52 sessions. That's an entire year. That is a $14,000 package, but I'm going to activate it at 50 sessions. And everybody who is signing up will get an entry, but VIPs will get 3 entries. So that's 3 times more chances that you're going to win that package. Triple entry, you get free registration to the Mind Unleashed course. I have a Mind Unleashed course, which is a version of teaching you how to empower your mind, empower your ability to do some unbelievable things. So again, you get that, and you get a free copy of the book that inspired this particular symposium, Healed and Whole, which is releasing officially on June 1st, which is the day we're having this symposium. So everybody, except Instagram, the link is in the description box. For those who are on Instagram, go to my profile or to the bio, whatever you want to call it, and there's a Linktree link. Click the Linktree link, and there's going to be a link on at the top of the link, my Linktree tree, and click that link. It's going to take you to where you can subscribe and register for this course. And like I said, the first 20 people who register are going to get free rapid transformation sessions. Those are $550 sessions. You're gonna get that free. All of the VIPs are going to get that plus 3 entries. Once we hit 50 entries, I will activate the raffle for the platinum package. Again, if you want to sit down with me and literally in 90 minutes witness a transformation that you probably never thought possible, this is something I do. This is not the first time, it won't be the last, but this is a time for you to jump in at a time where it's accessible and it's close, and make it happen. Do that now. I look forward to it. I'm excited about it. I'll always love whether I'm out in person on stage or I'm before people in a presentation room on some platform. I love sharing with people. I love taking on questions. I love people to present their challenges to me and say, this is what I'm dealing with. What are you going to do with that? And watch it unfold, because the answer is always there. The answer is always there. I'm not telling you it's easy. I'm not telling that you're just going to sit up and everything's just going to pop out and do and be everything you want to do. What I'm telling you is that if you sit up and you really, truly trust the process, you can do some unbelievable, phenomenal, extraordinary, and remarkable things in this world. But it begins with you learning how to manage your thought processes. For what? Your thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. For that, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. On that note, I'm going to check out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day, and I will talk to you soon.